Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we're taking a deep dive into quantum magic using these fascinating excerpts from the LEMDU School of Knowledge lecture series.
It's a pretty unique system, blending quantum physics with, well, spirituality.
Yeah, it definitely caught my eye. We're going to unpack the core principles of this quantum magic and see how we might be able to apply these ideas in our daily lives. Where should we begin?
Well, a central figure in these lectures is Master Antar, and he saw this quantum magic as a path to, transforming ourselves and manifesting our desires.
So, like shaping reality with our minds, that's a pretty bold idea.
Right. But they break it down, starting with the idea that everything is, at its core, energy. They describe a quantum field, which I know sounds complex.
It does.
But think of it like an ocean of energy. This ocean has the potential to become anything.
Okay, I can picture that. But how do we actually, tap into this energy field?
The lectures say it's our consciousness, our thoughts, feelings, beliefs that directly impact this field. Like they use this analogy of consciousness being like a sculptor's hand, molding the quantum clay of this field into the reality that we experience.
So we're not just passive observers. We're actively creating our own reality.
Exactly. And that's where the concept of manifestation comes in. The lectures really emphasize focused intention and creative visualization. They suggest that to manifest what we desire, we need to visualize it as if it's already happening.
So if I can see it in my mind, I can make it real. Is that what they're saying?
In a way, yes. There's a lecture where they talk about a woman who wanted to attract more abundance into her life. She was told to visualize herself living in a beautiful home, feeling financially secure and surrounded by loved ones.
And just by doing that, she was able to manifest those things.
Well, the lecture suggests that by vividly experiencing this in her mind, she was aligning her energy with the frequency of abundance, which in turn drew those experiences to her.
So it's not just about wishing. It's about really creating a strong mental and emotional experience of what you want.
Right. It's about feeling it as if it's already real. And they talk about Master Antar's concept of conscious movement. This means taking action that is aligned with your goals. It's like understanding that we're co-creating with the universe.
Yep.
Our thoughts and intentions set the stage, but our actions bring those intentions into, real life.
So it's a combination of mindset and action.
Exactly. And while they do focus a lot on personal transformation and manifestation, they also talk about the ethical side of using this kind of power. They stress the importance of respecting free will and making sure that our desires are in harmony with, well, the greater good, you could say.
Makes sense. It's like the old saying, with great power. But how do they define greater good? That seems pretty subjective.
They talk about it in terms of harmony and balance, asking yourself, will this action contribute to a more positive and fulfilling reality for myself and for others?
So thinking about the ripple effects of our actions and intentions.
Yeah, and acknowledging that everything's connected. Master Antar emphasized that a lot.
Sounds like Master Antar's teachings are a big part of this whole system. Can you tell me more about his insights?
Well, he talks about connecting with the essence of matter at a quantum level. He believed that by tapping into this essence, we could access a transformative power within ourselves. I know it's a bit abstract,
Yes.
but he gives this example. Think of a seed. It's tiny, seemingly insignificant, but it contains the potential to become a giant tree.
I see. So it's about recognizing the potential, even in the smallest things.
Right. And understanding that we have that same potential within us, he was really big on responsibility, too. Recognizing that we have the power to shape our own reality, but also that we're all interconnected. Our actions have an impact on everyone.
A balance between personal power and collective responsibility.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. And these lectures are full of examples of how people can apply these principles in their everyday lives. Want to explore some of those applications?
Absolutely. Let's get into the practical side of things. How do the LEMDU lectures suggest we can actually use quantum magic?
They discuss a lot of applications, things like quantum healing, manifesting abundance, harnessing the power of nature, working with symbols and crystals. They really cover a lot.
Wow, that's quite a list. Let's start with quantum healing. What exactly is that and how does it work?
They describe quantum healing as using focused intention to activate healthy atoms and cells to promote physical and emotional well-being.
So it's not about positive thinking to cure a disease, but more about working with the body's energy on a deeper level.
Exactly. They use the analogy of a radio. You can't hear a specific station unless you tune into the right frequency. With quantum healing, it's about tuning your energy to the frequency of health and well-being.
That's a really helpful analogy. Okay, what about manifesting abundance? What do the lectures say about that?
They talk about aligning ourselves with the energy of abundance in what they call the fifth dimension. It's all about achieving a state of fulfillment.
The fifth dimension. That sounds pretty out there. Can you explain that in a way that, someone who isn't a physicist or a mystic can understand?
Think of it like a ladder with different levels, different dimensions. The LEMDU school describes the fifth dimension as having a higher vibrational frequency, closer to pure consciousness and unity. It's a state of being where things just flow more easily and there's a greater sense of connection to everything.
So by aligning with this fifth dimension, we can tap into a more abundant reality.
That's what they suggest. It's about raising our own vibration through positive thoughts, emotions, actions to resonate with that higher frequency.
Okay, I think I'm starting to get it. What about harnessing the power of nature? How does that fit in?
They talk about how spending time in nature, especially around trees, can really strengthen our connection to the quantum field.
I can relate to that. I always feel more grounded and energized after spending time in the woods.
Right. It's like plugging into a universal power source, replenishing our energy, and coming back into balance.
This is all so fascinating. So far, we've covered healing, abundance, nature. What about those other applications you mentioned? Like symbols and crystals. How do those work?
So with symbols, they believe certain symbols like the Metatron's cube can activate knowledge and internal energy, like a key that unlocks hidden potential within us.
So just by looking at a specific shape, we can shift our energy.
It might sound a bit strange, but they suggest that certain symbols hold specific energetic frequencies that can really influence our consciousness and even our reality.
I'm starting to see how quantum magic blends, spirituality with a more scientific approach to energy. What about crystals? How do they work?
They see crystals as tools for amplifying intentions and harmonizing our personal energy with the quantum field. They believe each type of crystal has its own unique vibration and energy that we can work with.
So they're like little energetic amplifiers.
Exactly. They can help focus and direct energy, aligning our vibration with, the frequency of our desires.
This is all really intriguing, but I keep coming back to the ethical considerations. Do they talk about those in more detail? It seems like there's a lot of potential for misuse with this kind of power.
Oh, absolutely. They emphasize that while we do have the power to shape our own reality, we also have a responsibility to use that power wisely.
Right. But how do we know what's wise? What kind of guidance do they offer for making ethical choices when practicing this quantum magic?
They stress the importance of aligning our intentions with the greater good, considering the potential consequences of our actions, and making sure we're not trying to manipulate or control others.
So it's about using this power with awareness, compassion, and a sense of responsibility.
Exactly. And they go deeper into the significance of silence and contemplation for accessing what they call the quantum void.
The quantum void. That sounds intense. What do they mean by that?
They describe it as a field of pure potentiality, a space of infinite possibilities just waiting to be shaped by conscious intention.
So not an empty void, but a void full of potential.
Exactly, like the blank canvas before an artist starts to paint. It's the source from which all creation emerges.
That's a powerful image. How do we access this quantum void?
They say through silence, contemplation, meditation, it's about quieting the mind and creating space for that stillness within to come forward.
There's definitely a theme here, isn't there? The power of our own consciousness to tap into and influence this quantum field.
For sure. And they also talk about the heart as being like a quantum portal, emphasizing the heart as a center of power and connection to something, greater than ourselves.
So it's not just about our minds, it's about our hearts, too.
Right. They suggest that accessing this quantum field isn't just an intellectual pursuit. It's also about cultivating love, compassion, a connection to something beyond just, our individual selves.
These LEMDU lectures are weaving together such a fascinating tapestry of spiritual principles and quantum concepts.
They really are. And there's so much more to explore in these lectures. We've just barely scratched the surface. It really is amazing how they bring it all together. And there's definitely a lot more to unpack here. Let's dive back into some of those specifics about, how we can use quantum magic in our everyday lives.
Yes, please. I'm really eager to hear more about the practical applications they discuss.
One of the most interesting things they talk about is quantum healing. They say it can be used to promote both physical and emotional well-being.
We touched on that a bit earlier, but I'd love to hear more details. What kind of examples do they give?
Well, in one lecture, Master Anthar talks about this man who'd been dealing with chronic back pain for years. He used like a combination of visualization and focused intention to imagine his spine being strong, flexible, and pain-free.
So he was basically, what, reprogramming his body's energy to heal itself.
That's the idea. They suggest that our thoughts and beliefs can really have a huge impact on our physical health, and that quantum healing techniques can help us tap into the body's own, innate healing abilities.
It really makes you wonder what we're capable of if we could, like, fully harness that power of the mind.
Right. It's a reminder that we're often much more powerful than we realize. They also talk about how quantum magic can be used to manifest abundance, which we talked about a little earlier.
Yeah, we talked about aligning with the energy of abundance in the fifth dimension.
Yeah.
But if I'm being honest, I'm still a little fuzzy on how that actually works in practice.
Okay, let's try a different analogy. Imagine a garden. To grow healthy, vibrant plants, you need fertile soil, sunlight, water. Well, to manifest abundance, we need to cultivate the right conditions within ourselves and in our environment.
Okay, I like that. So what are those conditions?
They say it starts with, shifting our mindset from scarcity to abundance. It's about recognizing that the universe has unlimited potential and believing that we're worthy of receiving all the good things life has to offer.
So it's about changing our beliefs and expectations.
Yeah, and then aligning our actions with those beliefs. It's about taking inspired action towards our goals and trusting that the universe will support us along the way.
So it's not just about wishing for abundance, it's about actively creating it.
Exactly. It's about co-creating with the universe. They also talk a lot about gratitude as a key ingredient in manifesting abundance.
That makes sense. When we're grateful for what we already have, it opens us up to receiving even more.
Right, it really does. Gratitude shifts our energy from a place of lack to a place of fullness, which aligns us with that frequency of abundance.
Speaking of aligning with frequencies, the LEMDU lectures also talk about how connecting with nature can help strengthen our connection to the quantum field, right?
Yes, they emphasize the importance of spending time in natural environments, especially among trees. They say it can help us recharge our energy and enhance our intuition.
That reminds me of this one time I was feeling totally overwhelmed and stressed out. And I went for a long walk in the woods. By the time I came back, I felt like a totally different person. Like all the stress had just melted away.
It's amazing how nature can do that, right?
Hmm.
Reset our energy. The lectures suggest that trees, especially, have this strong, energetic connection to the earth and can help us, ground and center ourselves.
It makes you wonder what other secrets nature is holding on to. We've talked about healing, abundance, nature. I'm really curious about those other applications you mentioned, symbols and crystals. Can you tell me a bit more about how those work?
Sure. So the LEMDU lectures suggest that certain symbols hold these unique energetic frequencies that can actually influence our consciousness.
Can you give me an example? Like what kind of symbols are we talking about?
They specifically mention the Metatron's cube as a powerful symbol for activating knowledge and internal energy.
I've seen that symbol before, but I never really knew what it meant. What does the Metatron's cube actually represent?
It's a really complex geometric shape that's said to contain all the patterns of creation. And the LEMDU school teaches that. By meditating on this symbol, we can tap into a higher level of understanding and activate dormant potential within ourselves.
So it's like a visual representation of like the interconnectedness of everything.
Exactly. It reminds us that we're all part of this, larger web of life,
Yeah,
and that everything is connected in some way.
that's a pretty powerful concept. Okay, what about crystals? How do those fit into all this?
They describe crystals as tools for amplifying our intentions and harmonizing our personal energy with that quantum field. They believe that each type of crystal has its own unique properties and vibrations.
So like they're energetic allies that can help support us on our journey.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. They say that crystals can help us focus our intentions, clear negative energy, and enhance our connection to our intuition.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. We've talked about using quantum magic for healing, manifesting abundance, connecting with nature, working with symbols and crystals. I have a few more questions, though. I'm still thinking about the ethical considerations of all this.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's really important to approach these practices with a sense of responsibility and awareness.
I can definitely see how it would be easy to get, carried away with the idea of manifesting desires and shaping reality. But what about the potential for misuse? How do the lectures address that?
They really stress the importance of aligning our intentions with the greater good and making sure that our actions aren't harming others. They emphasize that true power comes from a place of love and compassion, not from, a desire to control or manipulate.
So it's not just about getting what we want, it's about using our power to create a more harmonious and fulfilling reality for everyone.
Exactly. They remind us that we're all connected and our actions have these ripple effects. They also encourage us to, develop a strong moral compass and to always question our motives before engaging in any kind of quantum magic practice.
That's a good point. It's about being mindful of the potential consequences of our actions
Hmm.
and making sure that we're using this power for good.
Right. And they also talk about the importance of respecting free will.
That's interesting. How do they define free will in the context of quantum magic?
They suggest that while we have the power to influence reality with our thoughts and intentions, we also need to respect the choices and autonomy of others.
So recognizing that everyone has their own path to walk
Yeah.
and that we shouldn't try to impose our will on others, even if we think we know what's best for them.
Precisely. It's about empowering others to make their own choices and to create their own realities.
It seems like there's a bit of a fine line there between, using quantum magic to manifest our own desires and respecting the free will of others. How do they suggest we navigate that balance?
They encourage us to focus on our own growth and transformation, while also recognizing that we're all part of a larger collective consciousness.
So working on ourselves while also contributing to the well-being of the whole.
Yes, exactly. And trusting that when we align our intentions with love and compassion, the universe will support us in creating a more harmonious reality for everyone.
This is all incredibly fascinating. But as we go deeper, I'm realizing we've really only scratched the surface of what these lectures have to offer.
You're absolutely right. There's so much more to explore.
Wow, it really does feel like we've been on a whirlwind tour of quantum magic. I'm a little overwhelmed, to be honest. There's so much information packed into these lectures. Where do we even go from here?
It is a lot to take in. The LEMDU lectures cover so much ground, but they also emphasize that the real journey begins when we actually start, putting these principles into practice in our own lives. And luckily, they offer some really practical techniques to help us do that.
Okay, good. I was hoping we could dive into some of those. I'm ready to move beyond just the theory and start experimenting with some of this stuff.
Right. So one of the big things they talk about is cultivating what they call conscious elevation. It's about moving beyond that autopilot mode and becoming more present in each moment.
So basically, being more mindful.
Yeah, exactly. And to cultivate this awareness, they suggest things like meditation, spending time in nature, practices like that. They believe that from this state of heightened awareness, we can really focus our intentions more effectively, which is, key for directing that quantum energy towards manifestation.
Right. If our minds are all over the place, our energy's probably scattered too.
Precisely. They also talk about aligning our vibration with what they call the frequency of creation, which might sound a little out there, but it's really about cultivating positive thoughts, emotions, and actions.
It's not just about thinking positive thoughts, but actually embodying that positivity in everything we do.
Yes, exactly. They suggest that our energy, our vibration, actually plays a huge role in attracting what we desire into our lives.
Like sending out a signal to the universe. And the clearer and more positive the signal, the better the reception.
Perfect analogy. Another technique they emphasize is visualization. They encourage us to really use our imaginations to create a vivid picture of the reality we want to create.
So it's not just about setting an intention, but actually creating that full sensory experience in our minds.
Yes. Engaging all five senses, seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, even smelling, to make that visualization as real as possible.
Wow, that sounds like a really powerful way to tap into the creative power of our minds.
It really is. But they also emphasize that quantum magic isn't just a passive process. It's about taking action that's inspired by and aligned with our intentions and that vision we've created.
So it's about bridging that gap between thought and action.
Yes. Taking those steps, however small, and trusting that the universe is going to meet us halfway and support our efforts.
It's like that saying, the universe rewards action. We have to do our part.
Exactly. And another important element they bring up is trust and surrender. Letting go of that need to control every little thing and having faith that things will unfold as they should, in the right way and at the right time.
Yeah, that can be a tough one, especially when we're really eager to see those results.
It definitely takes practice. But, they remind us that the universe often works in mysterious ways, and sometimes those biggest breakthroughs come when we least expect them.
This whole quantum magic thing has been truly eye-opening. It's making me rethink everything I thought I knew about, well, reality.
That's the beauty of it, right? It invites us to expand our awareness and explore all these incredible possibilities that exist both within us and in the world around us.
Well, as we wrap up this deep dive, do you have any final thoughts for our listeners? Any words of wisdom to send them off with?
I would say remember that you hold the power to shape your own reality. Your awareness is the key. The LEMDU lectures give us a roadmap, but ultimately, the journey is yours to create. So embrace the mystery, trust the process, and most importantly, never stop exploring.
Beautifully said. And to all our listeners out there, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into quantum magic. We'll see you next time.